Your Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, our first guest this morning is Bob Sharits of Way Out Recovery, which is a drug rehab center.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're an intensive outpatient drug rehab center located here in Santa Clarita. We've been open for a couple of years over on the corner of Plum and Bouquet Canyon.
Plum and Bouquet Canyon. Okay. I know where that is.
Yeah, you know where there's a La Casina and a,
Yes.
and a Vincenzo's and all that
Yes.
in there? Right in there. Yep.
Right in there. What are we going to talk about today, sir, on the Senior Hour?
Well, and I'm so first of all, let me say thank you to you, Barbara. I appreciate so much. It's been about a year or so since I've been on the show, and I appreciate so much that you invite me back. First of all, it means I didn't screw anything up too bad the first time. And second of all, I appreciate it because this, my specialty is addiction and drug use in all age groups, but it is one of those topics that people don't really like to talk about. It's difficult. People don't want to admit it. It's hard to recognize if people have it. It's hard to ask for help if you do have it.
That's right.
And so anytime I get an opportunity to talk about the dangers of drug use and the signs of addiction and how to help, I'm really grateful for that because it erases the stigma. What I would like to talk about is, and I don't know if this comes up for you guys, maybe I can ask you a couple of questions. When you're working with and talking to seniors, does the topic of specific addictions come up periodically for you guys?
No, not really, unless we have someone who is a guest in that specific area.
Got it. The only reason I ask is because it's, seniors are one of those populations in addiction and addiction counseling that kind of get, I want to say, sort of marginalized, sort of pushed over, like almost like the problem doesn't exist there, and it does.
Oh, yes.
Primarily what we see in any older adults is mostly alcohol addiction, but also, especially in the last, I'd say 10 years, 15 years, prescription medication addiction. So, one of the things that I would like to really talk about is, so alcohol, so I'll touch on both of those. And then I really want to say something about medications that are out there as well. Because as we get older, oftentimes we are prescribed more. We're going to see the doctor more. We have various health issues. And so it's sort of natural that that older population is going to have more prescriptions. So I want to touch on that in the sense of being aware of what your prescriptions are that you're taking. But I want to start with alcohol. So, what's interesting is we can get older adults who have never had alcoholism problems, but have drank sort of normally their whole life. And then in the retirement age or in failing health or in losing friends or all of the stressors that are specific to older adults, right? Natural stressors, but when we experience stress in our lives, what happens inside of the brain is that the brain is looking for a way to manage that stress. And so I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Nobody does. And if I'm drinking, I might have been drinking normally my entire life, and all of a sudden I have this big stressor, like maybe my spouse passes away or something, right? And in the midst of that grief, the drinking now becomes more medicine than it does social.
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Because I just recently lost my husband. And we always used to have a glass of wine for dinner. And then I would fill it up. I wouldn't finish it, but I'd fill it up again and finish drinking it, throughout the evening. And I'm very much aware of what you're saying because I could very easily fall into that trap.
Right.
Fortunately, I'm aware of it, and I can say to myself, that's it, Barbara, that's it. Because it would be very, very easy for me to sit after dinner, sitting in my chair, and constantly refill that glass of wine.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your husband, and second of all, obviously you have people that you're talking to and helping you through the grief and through the loss, and you have some additional coping skills.
Yes.
Nobody wants to feel pain, the pain of a loss, and so would be easy for anybody to try to drown that pain with an extra glass of wine or a bottle of wine or
Right.
whatever, right? And so that's the formula that I'm talking about. And there are some stressors that are absolutely unique to older population. One of them is loss of loved ones, loss of spouse, loss of friends. As we get older, the natural progression of life is we're gonna meet an end, right? And so
That's right.
And so it starts to happen, and that can, if I'm not prepared for that, and I don't have people that I'm asking for help or other coping skills, it would be easy for me to fall into that trap, just like you're saying. And so, most people don't, but some people do.
Some people do. Yeah. That's correct. And I'm fortunate that I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it had to do with working on a community hotline in this community when this community was new. I also lost a son 33 years ago,
Okay.
which, in my opinion, is worse than losing a spouse or a sister or a brother,
Yeah.
because the son came from me.
Well, and our kids are supposed to outlive us,
That's
right? I
right.
mean, that's the idea.
That did
Yeah.
not occur.
Yeah.
So, and I could have in fact, I did start drinking a little bit more back then,
Right.
but realizing that, oops, I went through a divorce. I have 2 other children I have to take care of. Knock it off.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that. But don't get me wrong, I love my glass of wine with my dinner at night.
Well, and most people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a huge world of difference between, enjoying a glass of wine and being addicted to wine, right? There's a huge
Yes.
world of difference in those things.
That's true.
And, something that comes up too is that, nobody would ever wish to have a loss like you did of losing your son, but that experience prepared you for this recent, in some ways.
That's right.
And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And so, one of the other things, so we see alcohol addiction a lot in older adults. There's stressors that are unique. Believe it or not, people look forward to retiring, but a lot of people who are in like helping professions and particularly a lot of men who are police officers, firefighters, things like that, they have this drive and this purpose and this go to work every day, and then they retire. And although I'm looking forward to retirement, oftentimes now I'm retired, now what? Like, what do I do now, right?
Absolutely.
And that absence of something to do creates a stress. And I've seen over and over again where overnight the sort of normal drinker who's got, all this going on retires, and within sometimes months becomes an alcoholic and cannot stop, right? And so, but this formula is the same.
Yes, that's true.
Experiencing a stress in the middle of having alcohol without any other coping skills for that. And so the solution to that is the same as well, is, if you're listening and you're thinking, well, I've got some major changes going on in my life or coming up in my life, start talking to people now about how you're going to manage the stress of that.
Well, it's interesting. I've always taken time to be involved in my community.
Right.
Because my community has given me a lot. And I like to volunteer for the different organizations who provide help for this community.
Yeah.
And that's what has helped me through.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to a meeting tonight for one of the organizations I belong to. And making friends and having friends and keeping friends through involvement community involvement really, really helps.
Well, and it continues to allow you to have a purpose too, right? It's like I am
Absolutely.
helping.
Yes.
I am helping other people, and that's nice to feel that. Plus, you know, you were talking about being on a hotline in our community from way back when it started, and that is an important tool right there. Being able to talk openly about things that are difficult to talk about. You've been doing that forever, and so you're kind of used to doing that. A lot of people, they just clam up. You know, they don't want to talk about it. Let's not bring it up, and let's, you know, and that's when those sort of stressors will sit inside of you and just spin out until you can't take it anymore, and the body has to do something with that, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other addiction is medication.
And so primarily pain medications.
Pain medication,
You know, opiates,
absolutely.
we hear a lot about heroin. You know, it's out in the news. People are dying from it. It's really dangerous stuff. But the truth is that more people overdose and die from prescription opiates than they do from heroin.
That's exactly the hydrocodone
Yes.
stuff. In fact, it's interesting because when I went through chemotherapy as a cure for my cancer 7 years ago, the doctor prescribed hydrocodone for the pain.
Right.
And my son was visiting me one day, and he said, "Mom, what's in that container?" I said, "It's hydrocodone." He said, "Don't you realize that stuff will kill you?"
It can.
Literally.
Yeah, it can.
He said, "Let me get you something else." So he brought me down some CBD pills.
Yeah. Yeah.
My pain was gone in 2 days, completely gone.
Well, what's interesting, you know, there's a lot of, and I don't know that it's so much controversial as it used to be, but there used to be a lot of controversy in the world of cannabis and CBD and THC and all this different stuff, right?
Yes.
But the truth is if you look at the history of any drug, all of them started as medicine. So there are medical benefits for all drugs, but the ones that are illegal, the problems, the negative consequences far outweigh the medical benefits. That's not the case with CBD.
That's very
The medical
true.
benefits of it are
And I
far
wish,
outweigh. Yeah.
I wish our federal government would get off the pot.
They're getting there. They're getting there, Barbara.
Tell you, it's unbelievable. They don't do their research.
Well, it's getting there. You know, it's getting there. And but other, you know, so back to the prescription medications, right? Is you're talking about hydrocodone, which commonly the names of these medications are Norco, Vicodin. You have codeine is an opiate. You have the various oxycontins and oxycodones and all of those things, fentanyl. So there's a lot of different prescription medications. And don't get me wrong, there are uses for prescription painkillers.
Yes, there are. There are. Definitely.
However, you know, for the listeners who are taking those, be careful. Those are highly addictive medications.
And you don't realize that you're getting addicted to them.
Right.
You really don't.
You know, we live in a world today where a lot of the heroin use is what we sort of term as accidental addicts. People that are turning to heroin have had legitimate surgeries or accidents or whatever and were prescribed pain medication and got into that addiction trap. And what happened is now it's not doing anything. I got to take more and more and more and more. Pretty soon, I'm going to different doctors. I'm buying them off the streets. All this stuff. Somebody comes along with some heroin, and for a tenth of the cost, I can have twice the effect, right? And so overnight, you get soccer moms that are becoming heroin addicts. You know.
Yes.
And so it's really interesting. Something else that I think people should be aware of as well is a lot of the anxiety medications that are out there. You want to be careful with that as well. So we're talking about benzodiazepines primarily. So Xanax, Librium, Valium, Klonopin, Ativan. What did I miss, Doc?
You're a pharmacy,
Right?
Bob. That's great.
Well, those are the addictive medications, right?
They are.
And they're highly addictive. What's not so if you're tuning in and you're listening to this, you know, the purpose of this show is to improve quality of life for seniors. I mean, that's the purpose, right? And so be aware of what you are putting in your body. Absolutely. A lot of people, when they have different issues, anxieties or pains or whatever, they have so much trust in their doctor, which we should trust our doctors. However, we should also question everything that we're putting into our bodies. Absolutely. What is this? Is it addictive? Can I possibly get addicted to it? And is there an alternative that's not addictive, right? And for a lot of medications, there are alternatives.
And as opposed to even medication, you can just changing your purpose in life and doing what Barbara was saying, being involved in the community, at church, having friends, going out, taking that extra step can change one's quality of life without taking medication.
Well,
but you have to find that, and
that's right.
You know, the alternative is that addiction, and people have to be aware of that.
Well, what's interesting too about that is I was taught a long time ago what in addiction really we call it a lifestyle disorder. And the reason we call it a lifestyle disorder is because recovery from addiction on a sustained level requires a lifestyle change. And also with what you're talking about, you know, I've had many people tell me over and over again, and in fact I can testify to this too, is that a radical change in my, or no, it doesn't even have to necessarily be radical, but a change in my diet has allowed me to not have to take certain medications. You know, sometimes it's the food that we eat, and that is the lifestyle change. Sometimes it's the food that we eat that's causing the inflammations and the pains and the inability to heal from the things that we have, right? And so there are a lot of natural ways to deal with pain.
You know, I didn't ask you, Bob, how did you get involved in this business?
By accident. No, that's the truth, but completely, you know, it's funny that you say that is, I'm in recovery myself. And so I grew up in the Santa Clarita Valley, and I was, for lack of a better term, a little teenage knucklehead running around here who got caught up in using drugs when I was very young. And that took my life on this completely rocky path. So when I was 37 years old, which is almost 14 years ago, I hit what they call a bottom, right? And so something happened that allowed me to have this moment of, I need to change my life.
Wait a minute, what am I doing to myself?
I don't know what happened, but there was, you know, it wasn't that I had not been in trouble before, but I was in trouble this time, and all of a sudden I had this, like, awakening. And I said, something needs to change. And at that same time that I asked for help, there were people like I do today to step in and help me with that. So I got involved in treatment on a personal level, and as I was going along, one of the counselors said, you know, you seem like you might have a knack for this. Why don't you go to school? And so I just took suggestion and said, yes, I will. And so I went and signed up for what they call an addiction studies program at Pierce College. There's many of them, but Pierce College has a wonderful addiction studies program. And I not only did I fall in love with maybe school for the first time, but I fell in love and I'm fascinated by the way that humans tick, and especially the way the brain functions and with addiction. And so as I was in school at that same treatment center, they offered me a job, and it has been just uphill since then. Like it's almost like something greater than myself, if you will, has grabbed a hold of me and kind of guided me in my life. And I've come to a place where now a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to design and open and now run a treatment center in my hometown from ground up. And isn't that beautiful, right?
It really is. Yeah, it really is, because I'm sure you have seen people who were in the same spot you were in.
Yeah. Well, I have a really kind of unique perspective in that I'm a Santa Claritian. Is that correct? Santa Claritan. But I also have had the same issues unique to Santa Clarita in the age groups. A lot of that we see. The unfortunate thing is that now I'm starting to treat a lot of the kids who of my friends that I was using drugs with back then. Yes. So the next generation has come through. I said unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate. The kids are coming to treatment, which is a beautiful thing.
Which they didn't do before.
No, it's more available than it's ever been before, and that's nice. You know, that's nice.
But you found personal purpose, which was important. Plus, you traveled the road, Bob, in the past, And there's nothing better than that experience and taking that with you to help others.
Yeah.
And I've seen that all the time for individuals who have lost their spouse, lost their child, who have gone into addiction programs, been in prison,
Right.
and come out, and their best mentors are people who have been on that road because they understand. It's not that others don't understand, but it adds a lot of value to what needs to be done and what needs to be said for the individual to get them into recovery.
Yeah, well, and it really blows me away that the things that I thought were junk in my life turned out to be gold.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like the things that I never would wish anybody to go through turned out to be the greatest asset that I have in terms of helping somebody else today.
Very good.
And isn't that wonderful, right? Yeah.
It is, and in helping yourself.
Well, of course. I mean, in doing so, right? It's
Yes.
reciprocal.
It is. It really is. Well, Bob, you have to come back again sooner than a
Invite
year
me.
and a half.
Invite me.
A lot
Yes.
of other
Yeah,
Yeah,
questions.
I'd be happy to.
We
I'd be happy to.
definitely will. Thank you so much, Bob Sharits.
And how do they get a hold of you, though, Bob?
So the website is thewayoutrocoveryscv.com, or you can send me an email, bob at
and for our
thewayoutrocoveryscv.com.
seniors need that phone number.
Yep, the phone number is 661-296-4444.
Well, that's
Easy to
easy.
remember, 296-4444.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me
Bob,
on
thank
today,
you.
guys. I
It was
appreciate it.
great. I wish we'd had longer, but
Well, we can.
We'll
yes.
work on that.
Yeah, we can.
We'll work on that. Thanks a million. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Introducing Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's second luxury senior living community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll have access to full-time assisted living services provided by compassionate staff in the privacy of your own home. Oakmont's Diabetic Wellness Program offers assistance with monitoring and managing glucose levels, meals, exercise, and activities. Oakmont of Valencia offers a fully equipped wellness center and concierge medical program, allowing outside physicians to visit on site. Discover the care your loved ones deserve in a resort-style setting. Visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call the Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio.
yes, on your hometown station, KHTS. And our guest now is Nola Aronson of Advanced Audiology, which is a sponsor of the Senior Hour. Welcome. It's good to
Welcome,
see you
Nola.
again.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys again.
Can you hear us okay?
No.
Oh, I know.
I'm having some problems with my hearing this morning. I better turn up my Bluetooth device.
And you know, that is a
Talking
big
Greek to me.
that is a big problem with our seniors trying to listen to our show and listen to television, listen to friends and neighbors and family. And, you know, sometimes, Nola, you know, they get into that quandary where when they're miscommunicating or misunderstood, and they run into problems because of that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a consequence of life.
Yeah.
And hearing is critical for them to have that quality they need.
Well, I was going to talk a little bit about age today because I keep getting people in my office all the time that say that hearing has to do with age. And that when I say they have a hearing loss and they happen to be over the age of 65, they start going, oh no, I'm not going to do that. I'm too young to get a hearing device. And that is such a myth because there are many more deaf children and hearing impaired children than there are hearing impaired seniors. So hearing is just one of the most important outlets or senses that we have. And it affects so many health problems. And we can't keep saying that enough. Unfortunately, noise is the leading cause of hearing loss. And so many of our men and women now have been in the service and have, lost a lot of hearing from being in the service. We have our law enforcement, our firemen, who have noise exposure all the time and really can't do much about that. So as we get older, more of our hair cells die in our nerve of hearing, and that's why it's not sometimes noticed or really thought of till we get older. But when we're younger, like when we're in our 40s and 50s, and we are, doing those kinds of things, where there are noise exposure, construction workers, especially even gardeners, any type of profession like that where you don't wear hearing protection. The hair cells start to die, and they die in the place where there's the unvoiced consonant sounds, which give the meaning to a word. There's like 80% of our language is in the high pitch range of hearing. And when we have good low pitch hearing, we can hear each other talk like we are now because it's nice and quiet. But noise in the background is also in the low pitches. And so what happens is we have these important sounds like S's and F and TH and V and CH.
And M and N.
M and N, yeah. And K and C. And so somebody says to you, do you want to go in the pool? And you thought they said cool. And you're thinking to yourself, what's cool? Why would I want to go cool, or something? And you become confused. And then that's when it all starts. People look at you like, well, why is he answering me that way? And so that's like one of the most important things. But because the hearing's normal in the low frequency range, you don't notice that you are missing those letters until somebody starts pointing that out to you.
Now, do most people point it out because the person has their radio or TV on loud, or they're constantly saying, what did you say? What did you say?
Yeah, I think it's more like, what did you say?
Is that one of those clues?
Yeah, what did you say? Yeah. You say, people seem to mumble all the time. Or, I can hear you just fine, but I have trouble understanding you. I often ask people to repeat themselves. Now, that is not noticed so much when you just have the high frequency hearing loss. You don't notice that you ask people to repeat. But the other person notices that you ask them that. It's not like you don't hear anything. See, people got in their concept in their head that a hearing loss is something when you don't hear anything anymore. Well, that's when it's too late. So when your brain also is missing that information, and your brain is what's doing the hearing because it's interpreting the sound. And when you're missing that information, you kind of start being left out of things. Like you struggle to hear in crowds, like in restaurants or in malls. I had a patient come in that's been a patient of mine for a long time, and she said to me, I noticed that my hearing aids are not working as well for me anymore. They're about 5 or 6 years old. And she said, I'm an active person. I do a lot with my church. I go out in groups, and I don't want to become isolated. I don't want to stop doing what I like to do. So she was smart. She came in. I retested her hearing. Her hearing did drop. And the newer technology is going to give her a much clearer sound, especially in background noise. That's people's biggest problems, is in background noise. And that's when you're in groups and you're being social and you're not isolated. You end up, doing that in groups.
That's interesting that you say that, because Russ wore hearing aids.
Right.
And it was always the background noise that was more irritating.
Bothered him.
And he would turn them down.
Right.
But then he couldn't hear the regular speech.
Right. But you see, that is the older technology.
Yes.
And just within the last year or two, I'm not saying it's been for a long time, we have whole new platforms for hearing technology now, where it is designed where loud sounds are loud, speech sounds are
normal,
you can hear, and soft sounds can be heard, but they're all separated. So when you're in a noisy environment, it does not amplify the noise anymore, but it still allows the speech to come through the noise.
Yeah.
But also, the better technology that you get, the better that happens. And when somebody is really active, you don't want to go to the lower technology, even though everybody is worried about cost and price. And they should be, because when we're seniors, we're not working anymore, and we are on a fixed income. We do only get Social Security, and Medicare, unfortunately, does not. I'm not going to get you started on this, Dr. Dorio, but Medicare, unfortunately, does not cover hearing
Not yet.
aids or teeth or glasses or all the things that we need.
which is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes.
Quality of
Unbelievable.
life.
But even so, unless you're very, very active and still working and still going to all these groups and everything, the hearing aids that were a year ago are still really good. But because the newer ones have come out, I'm able to make a deal with the manufacturers so I can provide really good service for hearing to our seniors and to people that don't have the money. So you can get a pair of hearing aids for as low as $2,000, and we have 0% financing for 12 months. So you don't even have to come up with the $2,000 at once. So there are options for everybody, but you have to see what's going to work for you. Right. So, and if somebody, that's what we do, is we look at people's lives and their social lives and what do they need, because we are there to give solutions. We are not there to sell hearing aids, and they're not a commodity. Okay. So that's what's happening to everything out there. It's all about the advertisements on TV. It's like I put, on those channels where you have the free advertising or whatever it is on TV. Last night, a hearing aid thing came on. Don't buy these expensive hearing aids. This one is better than those. And so they're tricking people into thinking that they're getting something good. Then the person's not happy with it. And then they go, oh, these things don't work. You throw out all this money and they don't work. So it's really important to come to a professional like ourselves who will evaluate the situation and tell you the truth. And yes, we may be a little bit more money than Costco or something, but the thing is, we have a private practice. And we have a lot of experience in our practice. I'm in the field for 40 years. We have Dr. Ginny Veloz, and she's been in the field for at least 25 years. So there's lots of experience in our office.
Well, when you go to an audiologist, you get a complete, full assessment.
Right.
And you don't when you go to Costco. I mean, if you, wait a minute, I'm having a hard time hearing, maybe I'll just go get some hearing aids. And a lot of people, I think, do that because you can get them cheaper at Costco.
Mm-hmm. Well, not really, because
in the long run, in the long run,
and also, but also the technology is much different there, even though it says it's the same. But but what you want is care. Mm-hmm. You want to, when you're having a problem, you want to be able to walk in the door and be taken care of right away. You want somebody to clean your hearing aids. You want somebody who can adjust them if they're not working right. You want somebody you could depend on to always be there. And advanced audiology has been in the Santa Clarita Valley for 32 years. Mm-hmm. So we're not going anywhere. So anyway, we are not hopping around and opening up a store and then leaving and having different people work for us. We have long-term employees in the office, and so
the nice part about NOLA, what you do is, you mentioned private practice, and that private practice for you is, people come in and yes, you provide good service, but in the long run, what you provide is the friendship, understanding, and dependability that they need to have, so they know where to go if something should happen to them, and that is a part of what you do, and it's totally different from someone who is just hello, how are you, and goodbye, and they don't care anymore. A private practice is different. It's service, and that's what you are providing for our citizens here in Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
Right. So, and we've taken, like we've talked about before, we've taken it one step further, and we donate a lot of money to our nonprofits in this community because we love Santa Clarita. We think we have the best community in the whole world.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody supporting everybody helping everybody. Even though we have a pretty large population here, we are a close-knit community. People know each other. People care about each other. Yesterday I went to the Henry Mayo home tour lunch fashion show yesterday. Cool. And it was awesome, and there were like 200 people there, and I only knew like a handful, and I was like, where are all these people from? I thought I knew a lot of people, but I didn't really hardly know anybody there.
Isn't that amazing? I've gone to several functions recently, and I'm thinking, where are all these people coming from? I don't recognize any faces.
Right.
A few, yes, old timers, so to speak.
Right.
But no, it's becoming more and more that more people are getting involved in our community, which is a good thing. It really is. And I think they're getting involved because they realize what a great community we are.
Right.
But not only that, they've, by example, seen others in the community. I'm sitting between the two of them that have risen up and not just donated, but participated in many of the activities that go on here that has given this community the notoriety of being close-knit and knowing that we're all helping each other.
Yes. I totally, respect people like Barbara over here who has helped this community for so many years and given of her time unbelievably. It just, I want to emanate and follow in your footsteps.
Thank you.
And you and Judy Penman is my other person that I look at all the time. Like, you guys have so much energy. You're so positive. It's really, really nice to see. So.
Well, it doesn't do any good to be negative.
Right.
It makes you feel bad.
Right.
Right.
I
mean, you can be sad and unhappy, but negative. It's negative. To me, it's a bad word.
Yes.
Well, yin and yang. How about that?
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Well, and I was talking to this woman this morning that came in, and she got hearing aids for the first time. And she was telling me that she thought the hearing aids had a hissing noise, but she thought it sounded like water running, so she asked her daughter to check the backyard, and it was. The water was running. She had never heard that. And then she said to me, and I'm hearing birds for the first time. Wow. I can't even believe that I could hear those birds. And so people don't even realize some of the things that they're missing.
And hearing birds sing is a wonderful feeling. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're happy because they're happy, just chattering away like crazy.
And then she was also conscious of, are these going to show and all that? And they're so small. She goes, oh, these are so comfortable. Because I said, well, if you need to take them off, if you're taking a nap or something, you can take them off. And she said, I don't even feel these things on. I don't even know I have them on. And I said, and you can't see a thing. So she said, one of our audiologists is older, and she was so surprised that she was wearing hearing aids and you couldn't see them. So she said she was like surprised about that. So, okay.
We need to take a break, don't we? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Remember when you and your sweetheart would go ice skating, gliding across the ice hand in hand? Well, relive those magical moments at Ice Station Valencia during any of our daily public sessions. The Ice Station Coffee Club, our Monday to Friday noontime skate for adults only, is a great place to socialize while getting in healthy ice skating exercise. For beginners, there's a free skating lesson every Tuesday and Thursday. Ice Station, across the street from Valencia High. Call 775-8686 or check icestation.net for ice skating fun.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers and Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome to the Senior Hour. The following is paid programming and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Jean Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station KHTS. We're talking with Nola Aronson from Advanced Audiology. And, Nola, you mentioned to us just during the break that you have a meeting after the show today, and and you'll be speaking there. But I emphasize the important part about what you do to the community and being on this show, helping seniors out, making other people in our community understand the plight that sometimes they face when they can't hear.
Right. Yeah. Well, hearing loss impacts all aspects of our life. It impacts our emotional well-being and our physical health, and our careers, and our leisure activities. And yet millions of people who have hearing loss let it go untreated. despite the research showing links between untreated hearing loss and increased risk of falls, depression, anxiety, hospitalizations, and even dementia. You know, like Barbara, we were just talking about like how you stay positive and all of that. But when we hear our best, there's nothing stopping us from enjoying the sounds of laughter, of music, of nature, of conversations. We have to connect with people. How do we connect with people if we can't have a conversation without feeling embarrassed that maybe we didn't hear it right, or faking it? These sounds, they impact us, they fuel us, they make life more memorable, more enjoyable. And when we have a hearing problem, those sounds we've taken for granted, they fade away. And they lead to many changes that could impact us emotionally.
Well, life also fades away.
That's right. So, you know, we might start getting embarrassed. We might
withdraw,
missing certain sounds, like our children, grandchildren calling us, or our children, and we can't hear them over the phone, and now we get sad. Missing critical information when you're trying to get something down and find something important. Now you become anxious. Not hearing the conversation clearly, now you start to feel left out, like my patient yesterday. She's starting to feel left out. She doesn't want to get like that. And feeling left out leads to depression and social isolation. So now you don't want to go there anymore. You make all kinds of excuses why you want to stay home, why you don't want to do the things that you used to like to do. So, so they did a recent study, and they found that adults with untreated hearing loss were more likely to report depression, anxiety, paranoia, and than their peers that wore hearing devices. So it's not like a big stigma anymore. They're very small, they're discreet, and people wear Bluetooth headsets all the time. Even if you don't know the word Bluetooth, it means that you don't have to hold your phone in your hand. Everything's wireless. Everything comes right into your ears. But now you get to have it where you hear even better. So I had a musician in yesterday, too. You know, I think of these stories as they go along because it's just so relevant. And he was about to cry. He was probably in his early 50s. He was about to cry with the fact that he had to accept the fact that he needed to wear hearing devices. And when he's a musician, and when he turned on his music in his hearing aids, his face lit up like a little kid with this big smile across his face. And that made my heart melt, because that's really what I want to do for people.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
want them to know what they've been missing. I want them to see, wow, you changed my life, Nola. I owe you. And that is all I do this for. I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not doing it for the money, believe me. I'm not a millionaire, you know, the fact that I am in this business. You know, people think because we charge a lot for hearing devices that we're making all this money, but believe me, the manufacturers make the money.
Yes,
they
they
make
do.
the money on the research and development, so we can provide this stuff. So, you know, we have to be careful. Adults with hearing loss are 5 times more likely to develop dementia. Hearing loss is linked to falling, and people are more likely to fall because the balance system is put off. Accidental injuries are 50% more likely for people with hearing loss. But when you can hear the birds singing, your grandchildren talking to you, you can be in conversations, you can keep up your social life. That's what it's all about. It's not about wearing a hearing aid. So I hope I got that across. And on the 16th and 17th of this month, we are having an open house to come in for free hearing screenings, to come in and try a device if you needed one, and just, you know, no obligation. but at least you can see how it can change your life, but you will need a reservation. So our phone number is 661-253-EARS. That's 661-253-3277. We are located right next to the AAA in the Owen Patterson Century 21 building. We have a purple sign. And make sure you call us. Anybody that calls us from the radio station to schedule an appointment, let them know, and you will get a 3-day, 2-night vacation. And that is not a timeshare. That is a choice of 8 different places you can go to. So hopefully you can hear us on the radio.
Mm-hmm. And if not, you'll hear us at some time in the future once they see you.
Right.
Right. Very good, Nola.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate all you do for the community, everything you've done in terms of helping our seniors out especially. And they just can't fear checking it out and making sure that their quality of life is okay. So once again, that phone number is 661-253-EARS. That's 661-253-3277.
Correct.
Very good, Nola. Appreciate your being on the show again. Thanks so much.
Thank you, too. I love being on the show with you guys.
And we are sponsored by Advanced Audiology, Nola Aronson, and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.